The cracked porcelain bridge whispers from the depths. I don't know where to start, but maybe putting it all down in words will help me convince myself that it's just hallucinations from the insomnia. Or maybe it'll serve as a warning to whoever reads this. My name is Ayame Kirisu. I'm 28 years old, and I live in Kagawa City, Japan, a modern urban sprawl where skyscrapers rise like indifferent giants, swallowing the remnants of the old world. Kagawa isn't your typical Japanese city. It's not the neon frenzy of Tokyo or the serene temples of Kyoto. Here, the air is always heavy with moisture, fog rolling in from the artificial Lake Kinzuan every night, making everything feel cold, damp, and somehow forgotten. I work as an art teacher at a local high school, where I teach kids to paint their dreams in vibrant colors, while my own life has faded into shades of gray and shadow. Before everything went wrong, my days were ordinary, almost comforting in their routine. I had a small apartment in Mizuno Apartments, an aging building from the 1970s, perched on the edge of the lake. The view from my balcony was mesmerizing, or at least it used to be. The lake's surface, flat and black as ink, reflected the city lights like a distorted mirror. The top floor was locked off, supposedly for safety reasons, housing old maintenance equipment. No one ever went up there, or so the building manager claimed. I wasn't alone though. I had Renji Sudo, 31, my fiancé, after 7 years together. We met in university when I was sketching the lake for a class project. He stopped by, peered over my shoulder, and said, "That painting makes the water look alive, like it's whispering secrets." I laughed it off as cheesy flirting, but now I wonder if he knew more about those secrets than he let on. Renji worked in finance, always the picture of kindness, bringing me flowers after long days, cooking dinner when I was exhausted from grading artwork. We planned our wedding for next spring, dreaming of a simple ceremony by the lake. Our love felt unbreakable, like the ancient bridges in old folklore. But it turns out, it was as fragile as fired porcelain under pressure. It all shattered about 6 months ago, on a drizzly autumn evening. Kagawa's weather was in full swing, rain pattering on the rooftops, fog creeping through the streets like ghostly fingers. School let out early for repairs, so I headed home ahead of schedule. Renji texted he'd be late at work, so I decided to tidy up our place, preparing for our new life. I started with his desk, wiping away the dust. The bottom drawer stuck a bit. I tugged harder, and out spilled a nightmare. First, the bill stacks of them, reinked debts from credit cards and loans, totaling millions of yen. My hands shook as I sifted through them, wondering why he'd hidden this. But then came the photos. Pictures of Renji with another woman, laughing in bars I'd never heard of, arms around her in parks, even cozy in a seaside hotel. She was younger, with short, stylish hair and a carefree smile, nothing like me. My heart clenched like a fist squeezing glass. I slumped to the floor, photos scattering around me. Why? Is it my fault or his? The question echoed in my mind, a relentless loop. I didn't confront him right away. Instead, I shoved everything back and pretended nothing happened. But that night, sleep deserted me. I tossed and turned, listening to the rain, the distant hum of traffic. Around midnight, the first sound came. It was like metal dragging slowly across concrete. Scrape, scrape, scrape from the rooftop above. At first, I dismissed it as wind rattling old vents. It lasted about 15 minutes, then stopped. The next morning, I asked Renji if he'd heard anything. He chuckled. "You're just tired, love." Imagination running wild. But the second night, it returned, louder, more insistent, pulling me from shallow sleep. Insomnia gripped me like a vice. By day, I'd teach with dark circles under my eyes, students whispering concerns. "Miss Kirisu, are you okay?" I'd force a smile, blame allergies or the weather. Nights were worse. I'd pace the apartment, stepping out to the balcony for fresh air. From the 5th floor, Lake Kinzuan stretched out, its artificial depths created decades ago by damming the old river for urban water supply. The water was always still, but under the fog, I swore something stirred. Renji started coming home later, a faint perfume clinging to his clothes, not mine. When I hinted at the debts, he brushed it off. "Old business stuff. I'll handle it." But the question gnawed at me. Why betray me? About a week later, Chio appeared. Chio Kusahara, 22, my new neighbor in the adjacent unit. I first met her in the hallway during a failed afternoon nap. jolted awake by the dragging noise from above. She stood there, long black hair cascading down her back, in a thin white dress, gazing out from her balcony door. "Can't sleep either, huh?" she asked, her voice soft, almost ethereal. I nodded, and we chatted. She said she'd moved from the countryside to Kagawa for freelance art, gigs painting and design. She often stared at the lake from her balcony, especially at 3 a.m., the witching hour when I'd wake to the sounds. The lake's beautiful, isn't it? But they say it hides secrets below. At first, Chio seemed like a quirky young woman, a kindred spirit in art, but oddities piled up. She never appeared in daylight. Our meetings were always in dim hallways or under flickering neon lights. Her skin was pallid, almost translucent, and her eyes sometimes gleamed with a reddish tint, like she'd been crying or something worse. One night, as the dragging echoed again, I joined her on the balcony. Fog blanketed the lake, turning it into a void. That's when she told me about the Porcelain Bridge of Kinzuan. You know, the lake isn't natural. Underneath lies an ancient bridge made of fired porcelain tiles, spanning the old river. There was a small shrine on it, dedicated to river spirits, where betrayed women prayed for justice. But during urbanization, they demolished the shrine and buried the bridge under the dam. Legends say the spirits of those women linger, waiting to exact revenge. I laughed it off as folklore Kagawa was rife with such tales, especially in areas razed for new developments. The city was a patchwork of demolition sites and shiny high-rises, perfect for hiding the past. From that night, things escalated. I noticed wet footprints in the hallway, damp trails like bare feet, fresh from the water. No rain outside. Peering down at the lake from my balcony, I'd see a woman's silhouette staring back, hair dripping, face blurred in mist. I'd blink, and it'd vanish, chalking it up to sleep deprivation. But it recurred, the face growing familiar mine, but twisted, skin fissured like cracked glaze. Renji grew distant. He avoided Silver Lotus Alley, a narrow, shadowy lane between towers, rumored haunted by scorned women. Once, on a walk, he yanked me away. "That place is moldy and unsafe. I don't want you catching something." His face paled, sweat beading despite the chill. "What are you afraid of there?" I pressed, he muttered. "Just old stories. A girl died on the Porcelain Bridge after being betrayed. Don't dig it up." The insomnia fueled paranoia. In class, my sketches turned dark, cracked porcelain figures, drowning women. Students noticed. "Teacher, why all the black and red?" I couldn't explain. Nights, I'd stare in the mirror, face gaunt, questioning. My fault, not pretty enough, not loving enough. The self-doubt corroded me, like acid on fragile clay, and the dragging sound persisted, nightly, closer, as if beckoning. Chio became my confidant. We'd sit on the balcony with cold green tea, sharing stories. She elaborated on the legends. Betrayed women turned demon in Silver Lotus Alley at midnight. They dragged chains, metal scraping to call vengeful spirits from the lake. "The water holds memories, I am. Stare long enough, and you'll see your buried self." I half believed now, because each lake gaze revealed the figure clearer. Smiling with sharp teeth under sodden hair, I couldn't take it. Though insane, I started the ritual. Night 1. I sneaked to the lake's edge, dipping my hair in the icy, fetid water. My scalp tingled like insects crawling. Back home, the dragging boomed louder, and wet footprints led to my door. Night 2. I lit a candle atop my head, flame flickering in the mirror. Heat seared my mind. In reflection, my skin webbed with cracks, illusion, but vivid. I screamed. Each night dragged me deeper. Night 3. Hair soak again. The lake figure waved. Night 4. Candle lit, whispers. "His fault." Renji noticed my decline. "What's wrong? Why fixate on the lake?" I mentioned the noises. "Chio," he blanched. "Don't listen to her. She's not right. Stay away from the alley." But I persisted. Night 5. Wet trails snaked from my apartment to the rooftop stairs. I tried the door lock manager. "No one's been up there in years." Chio urged. "You deserve revenge. Finish the 7 nights." Doubt crept in. Why did Chio know so much? She never ate in front of me, and when asked about her past, I was betrayed once, but I found a way to change. Was she an old Hashiheim luring me to deephood, or had Renji caused a death on the bridge, and the ghost targeted us? Night 6. Soken candle. The lake woman surfaced, cracked skin, bloody eyes. He killed me, she hissed. I confronted Renji. The debts, the woman tell me. He confessed. The affair was escape from stress. But the past, I knew a girl by the bridge. She jumped because of me. I tried to bury it with the lake. Night 7. I stood in Silver Lotus Alley at midnight. Fog enveloped. Dragging echoed from the lake. Renji appeared. Panicked. Ayame, stop. I buried the past. Don't let it drag you down. Then, the figure rose from shadows. Porcelain cracked. Blood-eyed. Me. Chio. The dead girl. Now, as I write this, my skin truly fissures. The dragging resounds nightly, and lake stairs show me gazing back, grinning. Maybe I'm a demon now, or it's all madness. If you read this, steer clear of Silver Lotus and Lake Kinzuan. If betrayed, don't ask why. The answer might crack you, sinking you forever into the depths.